Welcome into the GigEm247 Sport Podcast. I am Andrew Hattersley, joined by Brian Perroni, and Texas A&M fans are getting some good news for the second straight week after landing Tristan Jernigan out of Mississippi last week at linebacker. A&M goes back to the defensive side of the ball this week and lands Jordan Pride out of Blountstown in Florida. Brian, how you doing? And some big news, obviously, for A&M fans.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's nice covering the beat to see A&M get commitments 2 weeks in a row. I think they're hoping this starts some momentum. You've got some more guys deciding this summer, early in the summer, like Draylon Miller. So, they would love that these two guys start some momentum, especially a top 100 kid like Pride. So, this is a big deal.
No doubt. And A&M hadn't shown a ton of interest in many of the in-state safeties, and that, to
Yeah.
me, is what makes this a particularly big deal. Pride is ranked as the number 84 prospect nationally, number 6 safety in the 2024 class in the 24/7 Sports Composite. A guy that came to camp last year at A&M, picked up an offer, was committed to Florida State at the time, and spent probably 2 days. I think he was there for pretty much that whole first week of the camps. Paid his own dime. It was just there, kind of hanging out at the camps. And I remember talking to him when he kind of showed up on the Friday, and we were like, "You're still here?" And he's like, "Yeah, my flight's later this afternoon, so heading back out this afternoon." But obviously, a guy that showed a lot of interest in A&M. When you backed off that commitment to Florida State, Florida was the school that kind of had the early buzz. He took a visit there right away, and the momentum was kind of shifting towards the in-state Gators. But A&M, credit to them, kind of stayed in this and was able to get him committed. And he does have some connections to Ethan Fisher, Jimbo Fisher's son, and so that relationship with Jimbo Fisher goes back quite a ways, and you wonder if that kind of played into A&M's favor. And but that they were able to get it done and get it across the finish line on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think this is one A&M was really excited about happening. Florida did have the buzz, and for good reason, but A&M worked really hard. I think it was Bryant Gross Sarmiento, BGA, that was the
Mm-hmm.
main recruiter there. And BGA is from South Florida, but he's a Florida guy. He's a young guy, related to him well, and he had been out there to see him. And I think that really helps sway things. Headed into Pride took an unofficial this past weekend and headed into the visit. A&M felt really good about this, and that was still when a lot of people were talking Georgia. A&M, I think, was 100% okay with not being the headliners in this, with not being the hunted in this, and with Georgia Florida feeling a little more comfortable. A&M was fine with that because they felt pretty good about this starting last week. So, yeah, like you said, they just aren't after a ton of the in-state guys. Some of the corners they're after could potentially play safety, but this is a big get. I guess the one issue right now is, he did have a knee injury. I think it was an ACL injury, but I don't want to be quoted on that because I'm not 100% positive. But had a knee injury to close out his junior year. He's hoping to be back by the start of his senior season, but he should be back senior year and sort of. It usually takes 1 year that's a little slower, so that should be the year as opposed to when he gets to Aggie land. He should be good to go in full speed.
No doubt. And obviously, hope for a full recovery there. And it sounds like he is going to make that. And even if he can get a little kind of into the rhythm of his senior year and go from there. You mentioned this defensive backfield. There's some other guys, like we mentioned, they've shown interest in Florida commit. Xavier Filsame, probably going to be a bit of uphill sledding there, but a guy that they're going to keep working on until signing day and see where things line up. Miles Davis is another guy out of Converse Judson that they've shown a lot of interest in. Joshua Laird. Those are some of the in-state safeties, and I think if you start to look at it now, if they can kind of pair one of those guys with Jordan Pride, you've got a nice safety class to go with. And I think that's kind of where they maybe kind of look at things. And then you look at the rest of the secondary. Obviously, they'd love to add Kobe Black and Terry Bussey. Those are probably the top two defensive back targets out there right now. But getting at least a guy like Jordan Pride in the fold gets you a good start to this class, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
No, for sure. I think with safety, you're going to see A&M take one of those bigger guys, the Miles Davis or Joshua Lair types. I think Davis is more likely. Lair has scheduled some official visits, but as of this point, A&M is not pushed for one of those officials. So Miles Davis would be the more likely of those two. But you'll see that, and then you'll probably see one more pure safety. They want some speed, sort of like Xavier Phillips is one of the fastest. Safety prospects in the country. They want that. Pride has good speed though. I mean, yeah, I think he's got an 11. I mean, it's not elite, but 11:02, 100 as a sophomore, which is not bad, especially as a sophomore. So he's got speed too. But yeah, I think you're going to see A&M take three of those, with one being that sort of hybrid linebacker safety. And then we talk about momentum. So what happens next? A lot of these A&M guys, are really going to wait a little bit to announce, but the big one to watch would be Draylon Miller at the end of June. He's got official visit to USC, I think LSU. He'll officially visit A&M. A&M is in really good shape there. If they land him, that could be the one that really starts a snowball. I know that they want some momentum with the Pride one, but it really could be Miller, especially the in-state guys, because he's close with Weston Davis. He's close with Anthony Smith. A lot of those guys. So if he gets on board, he'll hit up Terry Bussey. He'll really get on all those guys to try and get him in the fold.
And Terry Bussey's a guy that A&M got on really early, and it's looking like a really smart bet. Obviously, I think that's going to be a battle all the way through the summer into the fall. LSU, Texas, Alabama, Ohio State's been through Timpson, a bunch of schools have Kobe Black. That looks like it's going to be kind of a battle too. So to get some traction, I think, and in-state would be huge. Draylon Miller would be a guy that, when you talk to him, he's really personable and a really outgoing guy. He's the type of guy you want, kind of at the top of the class, leading the class. And so that would be huge addition. I really like where A&M stands with TJ Lindsey. That's a guy that, is also kind of targeting a late summer decision. And, we'll see where A&M kind of goes with a guy like Daniel Cruz. Texas has had the lead there, but A&M was out to see him for the second time, I believe, this spring on Monday afternoon, and they're continuing to kind of plug away there. I'll have a story up on him on the GigEm247 site on Tuesday for you to check out on his relationship. And Ashton Funk is working really hard on him as well, and a guy that the two of them are close friends. And mentioned Ashton Funk's been in his messages every single day, kind of trying to sell him on coming to A&M with him. So, he's kind of also in that. We're seeing a lot of guys kind of talk about that late summer decision, which makes a lot of sense. Nigel Smith talked about the third game of his season at Melissa.
Cohen Eccles will be deciding in late June or July or August, but sometime there after the visit. And A&M looks good there.
So you're starting to see A&M start to pick up some momentum, and and I think a move like Tristan Jernigan, a move like Jordan Pride can kind of help in two key areas that A&M's looking to recruit. Obviously, Florida and Mississippi are two areas that they've targeted heavily in this class, and we'll see where they kind of go from there. Brian, looking ahead real quick before we jump off to that June official visit period, what are some of the big things that you're kind of looking for as guys start to lock in visits right now?
I mean, it's really just, these guys now have unlimited official visits. This is the first year that we've done it. We don't even know how that's going to work. Are some guys going to take 20? I mean, the schools are still limited in what they, in the number that they're allowed to host. But But even with the unlimited ones, it's still a big deal to get kids on campus, and that's really the first step. I mean, a guy like Dominic McKinley, 5-star from Lafayette, who's already got defensive lineman, already got an official visit scheduled. Just getting a guy like that in town again is really a big deal. And I think that the official visits are really with a lot of these guys will be signed in the summer are the key dates. Like right now, it's like things may sound good and whatever, but we'll really learn things coming out of those.
No doubt. And, I think one of the things, talking to some people about kind of A&M last summer, and they did some self-reflection on, where things kind of went wrong and what kind of happened. And I think the biggest thing was, they've kind of tried to spice, the visits up again, bring photo shoots back into it. Those were some of the things that, 2 years ago, we saw kids kind of really get together in the photo shoot rooms
Yeah.
and have some fun there. And I think you'll see it's going to be interesting to see what kind of the buzz is. And if you can get some vocal guys on campus each of those weekends to kind of bring the energy and bring the buzz, I think that'll be a big deal. And we mentioned earlier that Jordan Pride's visit was an unofficial visit. To me, I think it was a pretty smart move on AM's part. Somebody did bring up, well, why not make it an official visit when you get an unlimited official visits now. And
Yeah.
I think that is important to note that A&M does like to keep for their out of state guys kind of that official visit in the back pocket until later in the summer, fall, where they can get guys back on campus and uh, make sure that their commitments are solidified. And I think it's helped in a lot of cases. It helped with Smoke Bowie for sure when A&M was trying to hold off Georgia.
Mhm.
But your thoughts on on A&M being able to kind of hold on to him now and having that official visit in the back pocket.
I mean, out of state kids, you never know, especially kids from Florida, because
Right.
the in state schools. I mean, Tallahassee is right down the road. He was a longtime Florida State commit. Who knows, getting in Florida, getting back involved, Miami. I mean, he's near, relative close to Alabama and some others, but, he does have the ties to A&M. He loves BJ a lot. He likes rushing a lot. So I think there's a really good chance of holding on to him. And I mean, people say, why not make it official? Well, I mean, he was willing to come on an unofficial. He
Right.
was willing to pay
Exactly.
his own way. Why not let him do that? And then you can save the official for either the summer, the visit weekend with a lot of the commits, or out of state guys, or bring them back during the season or after the season late, right before they lock themselves in. So yeah, no reason to make it an official if he's willing to come in on his own.
100%. And we'll kind of see. I'm sure we'll see him back in campus on campus a lot, potentially for a later this summer. I'm sure he'll be back for the recruiting barbecue, and then during the fall as well. I'm sure you'll see him pop back up for a game. Until then, we're gonna sign off, and thanks again for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe this video and subscribe to the GigEm247 Sports YouTube channel and our Spotify and iTunes accounts to get a notification every time a new podcast drops. Until then, enjoy the week, everybody, and we'll see you guys soon.